this is Ron Brown with the Being Truly Well Minutes for today. And the thing I wanted to talk about today is objects in the mirror may appear closer than they really are. And what I'm talking about, if you've ever looked at the writing at the bottom of your rear view mirror, on the side of your driver's side of your car, there's a little writing on there that says, objects in the mirror may appear closer than they actually are. And I love that saying because I think of it with any mirror that we look into with our own reflection. How we truly need to be closer to our true selves in order to truly make things up here closer than they are in our lives. What do I mean by that? When is the last time? And, I've known some people who have no problem doing this every day. But I know a lot of people who can't do this. So I hope that you'll do this exercise with me. I want you, after watching this video, to go into your bathroom or bedroom, wherever you have a mirror that can show at least half of your body, the top half. And I want you to look into the mirror about 1 foot from it. So if you have to lean in over the sink a little bit, do it. Look yourself straight in the eyes. Do not deviate from it. And I want you to say to yourself your name. So I'll do my own example. Ron Brown, I love the authentic you. And then just stare at yourself directly in the eye. Feel the waves of validation that statement makes you feel. 3 things will happen. Number 1, you'll either feel exceptionally uncomfortable and you'll want to turn your eyes away from yourself because you don't feel like you're worthy of that statement. The second thing that will happen is you will get tingles through your entire body. As Oprah calls it, your aha moment. Because you will realize that what you're saying is truly valid. Or the third thing will happen. You will start to tear up or turn away from that mirror. We truly live in a world that we are looking out at all times. You're never really looking at yourself. You're always usually looking at yourself through others' eyes. The clothes you wear, the car you drive, the career you pick, the friends that you have are basically ripples of you. Some people ripple pretentious things because they don't feel that they're worthy inside themselves. So what they do is they put on a front. I call it the keeping up with the Joneses effect. In other words, in order for me to feel validated, I need to have, and then whatever it is in your life, I need to have the latest, computer, the latest house, the latest car with the most wonderful features, so that others will see that I am successful. If you need, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with wanting and desiring quality things in your life, or having them. It's a good thing. But if you need to have those things in order to feel good about yourself, then you don't feel good about yourself, if you're honest with yourself. And that's what this exercise is all about today. Be totally honest with yourself of the level of self-esteem you have. Is it reliant upon others complimenting you all the time? Sometimes people will excel in a career so that people will say things to them like, oh, we could never have done it without you, or, oh my God, it's so amazing that you did this and you did that. And it's an ego stroking situation. So you have your keeping up with the Joneses people, and then you have your ego stroking people. Often these ego stroking people will fall short in the mirror exercise. When they look at themselves, they don't see it. So they need to get validated outside of themselves. And what happens is they wind up living a less than, if you're using math symbols, life. Because if it constantly has to be validated, but when you look in the mirror you know it's not true, it tends to crumble. The next kind of person, so we have your keep up with the Joneses, your ego stroking people. And I'm not judging people, I'm just saying that these are typically what's out there today. Then there are people who live a less than satisfactory life because they feel, because of something that happened earlier in their life, in their childhood, or in their past experiences with their family or friends, that knock them down. I call this the tall tree in the forest people. Each of us is solid. We are firm. We have everything we need within ourselves, no matter what your disabilities or disadvantaging conditions. You are solid. But if someone has chopped you down, either from emotional scars, words that were said, things that were done to you, then you are like a tree that was once tall, who has now been chopped down and lays in the forest. And three things can happen to that tree. It gets processed and made into wood, it gets chopped up and burned up in a fire, or it sits there and it rots. When you are chopped down, and you may have been chopped down for years, and you are just sitting there basically existing, you are rotting. Maybe you chose to burn yourself up in a fireplace. What do I mean by that? Well, you can either rot by staying stuck and feeling like you don't deserve love or happiness or joy, or you can burn yourself up by punishing yourself, by avoiding success, because you feel less than. And when you do that, a part of you burns up and dies every time you do that. And it's a shame because it's not true. And again, the third thing that can happen is you can build it into wood, which can then become part of something else. Building yourself up into a new image. Not being stuck in a forest all alone, but instead choosing to take the wood that you are from the experience you've had and building a wonderful building or home or solid piece of something that is going to last. That is wisdom. So when you do look in that mirror and objects in the mirror are closer than they appear, I hope that you're close to yourself and that you truly hear what I'm saying. You must not fall into the trap of keeping up with the Joneses for the sake of keeping up with the Joneses, to give you false esteem. It's just not going to lead to happiness. It won't do it. If you are that tree that fell, again, build yourself up. Choose to make yourself into productive lumber. It's going to turn into something wonderful. I don't want to get too deep in the analogy here. But if you feel less than, if you feel that you are just stuck, then you need to change your mind. How do you do that? Well, you free yourself with the whispers exercise we talked about. I linked it in yesterday's video, but I'll link it again in this one. And what that does is it takes all those voices of things that were told to you as a child, through your teenage years, or wherever you are, that you're no good or that you're invalid. And It eliminates them by replacing them with positive affirmations, statements about yourself that you're true. Reaching toward those new goals, reaching in touch with the embryonic truth within yourself is going to bring you true aha, joy, esteem from a real place. Now, if you are in a situation that you can't change, let's say you are a teenager and you're living with parents who are constantly putting you down, you can't change that influence until you're 18. I mean, you could run away from home, and I'm not saying do that. If you are being harmed by them, then call for help. Be taken out of that home. I don't want anyone to suffer. No one should ever have to. But if you're in a situation where you're around people, maybe you're married to someone who's unsupportive of you, then it starts from within. Work on yourself. If that person you're married to starts to see that change in you, three things could happen. They'll either get very uncomfortable and they'll try to criticize you more, tear you down more. If they do, divorce court. Easy to do. If the second thing will happen is they'll say, wow, you've changed. And that could be in an amazing way, and they could in turn want to change their lives. And if so, you have a joyful, wonderful marriage that will go to the next evolution together. Or the third thing that will happen is you will mutually agree that your lives are not compatible anymore. And just lift them up in prayer and to the universe. And maybe they'll change and come back to you. You never know. Life is truly a journey, and sometimes when we stop at different rest stops along the way, we run into people, familiar faces, that perhaps we didn't see in a long time. I often call life like a ride on a subway. If you've never been to a big city, you'll have to imagine this, but there are many subway trains. I used to go to New York City for voiceover training. Imagine that. And I used to go to Jersey City and take the PATH train. Now, the PATH train used to go to two destinations. One, the World Trade Center, and the second one was to Journal Square, would take you into Broadway, and it would take you to a certain stop, and then I would have to take the number 6 train down to Broadway where I needed to go to take the voiceover training for 13 weeks. And I often would see the same people riding that train on a Saturday morning, early in the morning, that I would take this ride to get there. And sometimes I would go earlier, sometimes I would go later, but I was always glad when I saw a familiar face on the train. I did never talk to them, sometimes I did, but just to have the comfort of someone around that you're used to, it's a good thing. Well, in our lives, we get people that hop on our trains, on our subways with us, get off at their own stop, and we might see them again, or that may be the end of the journey. Sometimes we are the ones getting off at the number 6 train to go over to the PATH train terminal to take another journey. And if it is, we appreciate the path that we had. And if we take with us what we have, because you don't want to leave it on the train, it joins us on the next journey, the next leg of our trip. And then when we get in our car and then drive alone for a while, we get to think about the journey we had shared with others. Yesterday I had a wonderful conversation with someone, and I'm not going to reveal anything about it, but a long time ago, when I was in the Air Force in South Dakota, I knew somebody who was joy and light and love, and just by being around this person, I felt better about myself. I was told erroneously, wrong, in a wrong way, that this person had died. And for years, I cried and mourned that this person died, and they told me it was in a horrific way. And then all of a sudden, I found them again. After many, many, many years. In fact, it was this year. And I am just so blessed that he is alive, and that I got to catch up to him, and that we see that our lives took familiar pathways, and that there is joy there, and hope there. I reconnected with someone that truly I love. And wow, I can't tell you, when you share what has happened from the time you last saw someone till you see them again, you get to feel for what they went through, and you get to bond again with that person. But the person I'm asking you to bond with today is that person that maybe you go and you see him every time you brush your teeth, or her, or you comb your hair, or you wash your face, or you brush, you shave if you're a guy, or woman, no, I'm not going to judge, or wax, or whatever you're doing in the mirror. Do more than your business. Look deep into that person in the mirror. Appreciate them. Is it like my friend that you really haven't seen in years? That you believe was long gone? That you mourned, oh, they'll never make it. And now you see them in new light. They are alive. They are still there. Still vibrant. And wow, what experiences we did have. And now we can grow from it and become closer. That's what I'm asking you to do. Because truly, objects in the mirror are closer than you think. This is Ron Brown for your Being Truly Well Minutes. Have a great day.